in a while, but
Yeah, nah, that was my bad. I forgot to step. Damn, that should seem dark. Look at this. That helps a little bit. All right, so it's mirrored image. Ooh.
I'm not using my computer though, right? Ain't I supposed to be joining you on the thing?
Well, anyway, you wanna go on to the StreamYard. It don't matter how you do it.
Oh. Okay, I kind of forgot. Shoot. Hello?
I'm here.
I'm getting off the phone.
All right. I have to make it bigger. Oh, I didn't want to do that. I'm trying to make your screen bigger. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you through my phone. I'm trying to hear you through my headphones.
Okay.
Hello?
I'm here.
Shit. Why is he doing this?
I don't see you going live neither. Hold on, let me look it
You
up.
said what?
I don't see you going live.
What do you mean? I clicked the stream key.
Hold on, I'm about to go on. You is Davinia Models, right? I see it now.
Yeah. But I'm not
Wait,
on
no.
Instagram at the same time.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to be.
Why is this shit not working?
Man, your mom knows they run all day. So next you go live a bunch of stuff. Okay, all right. It said that you were live, but I can't see you live. That makes sense?
I thought I was joining yours.
No, I remember I said we're gonna go live from your Instagram and my Facebook.
Oh, okay, fine.
And you're frozen too.
Yeah. I'm trying to get my headset to work, and now it was working until it connects to the thing.
Okay.
Now it
I
doesn't
see it
want to.
now. I see it live. Ooh. Okay, we lit. Share, share. Share, 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 share. Share, share.
Why won't it?
Share,
This
share.
shit is so annoying.
Ooh, I can invite more people. Share, share. Share, 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 share. Share. Share, share. Share, share. Yeah, I like this. I like this. I like this a lot. We out here. I had to share it to wild people. You still trying to figure it out?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure a lot of shit out right now.
I'm gonna take you off stage. What up, everybody? Yo, again, my nose ain't running all day. So when we about to go live, shit is like, nah, we got, you know what I mean? Nah. I should go live from my phone, for real. That's what I might do. That's what I might do, for real. I might go live from the phone. I feel like the phone, the camera looks a little bit better or whatever. You feel me? Let me see something. Let me see something. Oh wait, I can't do it from here. Hey, you get off my clap. You don't know my step. Let me see what happens. Loud. Ooh. All right, let me see what it look like from here. I might gotta mute it a different way, but I'm not. All right. My bad, y'all. All right. So I want to know if people can hear me now. Hopefully you guys can. And if you can, yo, I'm here. I'm back. You miss me? I know you do. It's okay. It's okay to say you miss me. It's okay to be like, yeah, I do miss this big old head. All right. I'm trying to find my.
Oscar, listen, baby, I know I was a bad girl.
I am trying to find my live on Facebook. Divya, we good? No jet. Can you hear me? Better now? No? Oh my god, my nose, yo. So it's like I'm not even live. There you go. Now say I'm live. What's going on here? Alright, so now I can share this live. Boom, shakalaka. Boom, 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 shakalaka. Damn, it's a lot of the same people.
Oh my God.
I'm going to let her rock out. So, today's 9/11. Let's talk about it real quick. Where were you when 9/11 happened? Like, what were you doing? Where was you at? How did it happen? All that jazz. Talk to me about it. Let me know what it looked like in your life. What did 9/11 look like for you? I want to know. I'm gonna give my story real quick because it is 9/11, and this will give us a good time to go over some technical difficulties simultaneously. So I appreciate that. That being said, all right. So it's crazy on here because I can't really see comments and stuff like that, but shit, we're gonna make it work. So I'm gonna give a nice little quick story. So what had happened was 9/11, perfect day outside, not a cloud in the sky, everything was beautiful. I go to school, and my man Hugh. For all those who watch this video, y'all remember who Hugh was if we went to high school together. And my man Hugh was like, "Yo, man, we going to war, all this crazy shit." I'm like, "What the fuck is this nigga talking about?" I ain't thinking nothing of it. I was late to school, like the first, second, third day of school. Hold on a second. Let me see. Did we good? We not good. So I remember going to school, and I think my homeroom class was like my art class. So I get to the art class, and I'm like, "Yo, why everybody look so sad and shit?" And I said that, and my teacher, I don't remember her name, but I loved her though. But anyway, she could draw OD good. It was crazy, and she was an old white lady, and she just walked out the class after I said that. Like somebody was like consoling her. She just like ran out the class, and I was just like, "The fuck am I missing? Like what? Like did I do something? Cause I just walked in. Like what happened?" And this girl like grabbed my arm. This Hispanic girl. We used to like each other too. Anyway, she like grabbed my arm, and I looked out the window, and from my window, we could see like the skyline of Manhattan, and from the upper floors. And sure enough, I seen the fucking towers on fire. Well, I seen one of the towers on fire. So then I feel like the other plane hit like shortly after that, which shows you what time I got to school. I was definitely late like a motherfucker. So what had happened was what happened was so once that happened, I seen the joint. I was kind of like disarray, like, damn, what the fuck is happening? Because we thought it was an accident till the second plane hit, and then we were all kind of like in shock, and they were just like they didn't let us change classes or nothing. We was just where we was. That was it. And then after that happened, when the first tower fell, I was like, yo, it's time to go. It's time to go home. And the second tower fell, I would say a few minutes later, and that happened after I already got my shit together and I was leaving, but I seen everybody in the library. So this is back in the day before, schools interactive and shit. They had a library. Our library where we had like the TV, and it was a pretty big library for school, believe it or not. So when we was in the library, everybody was like surrounding the TV, and then the second building fell. Like live, I watched it live on TV. The first building fell. I seen it from the window because I heard the person on the radio like, "Yo, it looked like the building was about to collapse," and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" And sure enough, that boom, 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 it just came down. It just fell. And when that happened, I was just like, "Yo, I can't believe this is happening." So I was like, "I'm trying to get up out of here." So I got my stuff together, and I went and got my I went to the library to see who was there, and that's when the second building fell. And I was just like, "Yo, I'm out," and I left. And I remember it wasn't like there were some buses running, but there were no subways running. Like they stopped the whole subway system, and I had to take the bus to like Gun Hill Road and then walk to Mount Vernon, which I don't know, cause I feel like the buses wasn't running above Gun Hill. I could be wrong, but I don't remember no buses running. And yo, that's like a 8 to 10 mile walk, something like that. That shit is far. I would say 8 miles, probably like 7, like 6, 7 miles. And I had to make that walk, and I walked all the way up, all the way to the crib. And oh man, it was a pain in the ass, bro. Oh my god, it was so painful, yo. It was so painful. And then I remember I got home, and when I got home, motherfucker was like, my uncle came home. My uncle was like, "Hey, yo, man, like, hold on, let me see if the video's good. You good now?
No,
You gonna make it
is it
work?"
echo?
I don't hear it on your side. You sound good to me.
Okay.
Um, so after that, my uncle came home and he was like, "Yo, you going to war?" and all this other shit he was saying. I was just like, "No, I'm not going to no war. I'm the oldest son. They don't take them. I'll be alright." So and even that day, I knew that something wasn't right about that shit. Like I knew something didn't add up. But I'm not gonna get to the whole conspiracy theory of it. I feel like ultimately the most memorable part of that day was me and my sister laughing at this black guy that we seen running on. We seen him running on the. He was zipping through the motherfucking.
What, on the news?
Yeah, on 9/11, he was like running top speed. Nigga, Todd was in the back, briefcase was up in the air, yo. And I laughed, but it was like a serious moment, so I laughed, but I tried not to laugh. And what I did is like I kind of like walked into the kitchen so I can laugh. And when I came out the
Yo.
kitchen, me and my sister looked at each other and just started crying because she knew and I knew. And yo, because we was taping that whole shit. We taped it. I don't know where them tapes is at, but we taped that day. We recorded it. My mom was like, "This is history," and she pressed record on the fucking VCR. And I'm glad she did, like, because I watched it, like, a couple of years after it happened, and I was just like, yo, that shit is crazy. I can't believe this shit really happened, like, in real life. And anyway, so I think I lost those tapes in college. But anyway, so that's my 9/11 story, like where I was at, what happened, how it happened. That shit was crazy. So shout out to all the people who survived that shit, and then had poisoning from asbestos and trying to settle because they act like that shit never happened. So shout out to the real heroes. You know what I mean? So anything you want to say about 9/11 before we get started with this episode?
I don't know. I feel like, well, I don't watch TV, so that's probably a big part. Where I feel like it kind of was like just snuck up on me. Like me and my daughter went to like a movie in the park last week, and they had the lights up, and I was like, oh ish, like, oh yeah. I was in high school. I'm pretty sure I was a sophomore. Yeah, I was a sophomore. Um, and I remember I was in chemistry lab, and I remember I don't know why Chad had a radio, but he was like, "Oh, they're saying something about the Twin Towers, da da da," and or there's been an attack on the Twin Towers, and he kind of like laughed it off. Was like, "Oh, they tried that before." So we went back to doing labs. So then we always had lab first, and then class following lab. So then we moved to chemistry class. And he was like, I guess, yeah, kept following whatever the situation was during lab. And he was like, yo, they said a plane flew into the Twin Towers. And we're like, what? And I went to school in the Bronx. So actually, a lot of people who went to my school didn't live anywhere near the school at all. So the principal ended up making an announcement confirming what happened. They would like tell us what we're going to do. I didn't have a cell phone back then. The only reason I had a cell phone in high school, I was going to the Bronx every day with no phone, is because 9/11. After 9/11, my mom got me a cell phone.
That's
And I
crazy.
think like my most memorable part of all of that is besides it taking like 3 hours to get home and like considering potentially having to sleep at somebody else's house because we didn't know what the transportation was going to be like. Da, 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 da. I remember that I think when I got home that evening, I had a boyfriend. He came over and we just stood on the top of my mom's on top of my front step and looked at the smoke and going into the sky. And I don't live that far from Manhattan. So you're smelling it, like the whole city smelled like the fire and everything like that. And him going, my dad could have been in that and I wouldn't even know because he didn't know his father. So
Wow.
yeah.
And you knew that already. That wasn't something that he like dropped right then and there, right?
Yeah, I knew it already.
Oh, okay. I was like, yeah, that's kind of heavy, bro.
Yo, I can't. Like now's the time to be vulnerable.
Right. Talking about still in the moment, my nigga. Like,
So this is kind of a good segue into the topic. Or major emergencies kind of put things in perspective. I decided to open up now.
that's right, exactly. Oh man. All right, so boom.
Oh
That's
no.
our 9/11 stories. Thank you guys for listening and all that. So today we got a nice little video for everybody. I'm trying to see who's watching or whatever. So anybody watching on the gram, or I can't see because you
I can see them.
it's on your
Hey guys.
it's on your profile.
Let
So
me get to chit chatting. I think you yelled at me last time.
who? Me?
Yeah. I mean, it's been so long you probably forgot.
I almost had something to say, but we're in public. All right, so boom, right? So we got this topic talking about vulnerability in men and how men can be vulnerable with women. So I'm gonna get to it, and we're gonna start off with this. So, to you, Divinia, what does male vulnerability look like?
Honesty,
Interesting. Why do you say that?
because a lot of men feel like they can't be honest with women. I
Why?
think the basis of vulnerability is honesty
The
and
basis.
transparency.
I think more transparency than honesty.
I think both. I think it's showing emotions besides anger.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't, I'm not a guy. I think I pride myself on being one of those women who knows how to create safe spaces um within within my relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like everything lacks authenticity until you can be vulnerable.
I see that. I see that.
So I mean, what does it look like to you? I mean, you're a guy. I kind of feel like I'm gonna receive everything through, I can only see what I'm showing. You know
Um, how do I see it? Um, so I think you're right with the vulnerability of men. I would say less. Um, I think vulnerability comes with vulnerability, right? Weakness, fear, insecurity. I'm not saying that that's the only way to be vulnerable, but I think how a man deals with a woman is that he's not supposed to show those sides oftentimes. And sometimes when he does, he gets vilified for it. Like one of the clips that I'm going to play. And I feel like that's a real thing, right? Like men, the softer side of us, it can also be masculine, but sometimes it gets perceived in ways that are just like not conducive to growth at all. Um, but with that being said, I feel like a man's vulnerability is how well he allows his woman to access his fears.
Say that again?
How well he allows his woman or a woman to access his fear, to access his to access his insecurity, things that make him
Interesting.
weak. Because although there is strength in being vulnerable, you have to be weak first and trust the person to not break you down even more. So like vulnerability, when you're a baby, you're vulnerable, right? So if there's a big animal coming or there's a person you don't like, you stand behind your mommy or daddy's leg because that's the safe space for you. And I feel like when a man is an adult, we often at that. We look at our 5-year old self, and or we return to our 5-year old self, and the woman is like, if she doesn't handle that well, like we can't go back to that space with you because society doesn't let us be our 5-year old selves. Society is like, nah, you're a man at 7. You know what I mean? And this is how you're going to act, and this is how you're supposed to act, and blah 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 blah. God damn. I'm sorry. Yo, no
Good.
lie. My nose, my allergies have been bothering me the past few days, but my allergies have not bothered me all day. And as soon as I press live, I'm like, yo, that's crazy. So anyway, so that's what I think male vulnerability is.
I feel like you're saying like you have to be weak to be vulnerable. You just have to be human. Everyone has weaknesses. Like to assume anything else is delusional on both parties' part.
But I feel like the delusional part also is that men can't be human. We have to be men, whatever Western society's definition of that is. You follow what I'm saying? So it's not like we don't want to be human, it's that we're not often allowed to be human. Because and to be human is to have weak moments.
Yeah.
We follow what I'm saying? But we're
Yeah, I'm
not always
saying to allow
allowed
somebody their human experience.
Right. Exactly. So hold on, I have to get I'm sorry y'all. I have to switch this out a little bit.
I kind of feel like they meet you as far as you go. So when you're not vulnerable with someone, you're robbing someone else. And you're not supposed to be vulnerable with everybody. That's obvious. But like if you're talking about in a relationship with someone, and you're working on building something and loving and trusting each other, you're robbing yourself of the experience by not being able to show up, and you're only going to be as fulfilled as you show up as yourself in the relationship. Like, and I understand. I've seen the videos about guys saying they can never be vulnerable or what women will do, and she'll always throw it back in your face or and stuff like that. And I feel like,
Yeah, we about to. Also, everybody who's watching this, please do us a favor. Share this video with your friends. This is going to be a dope episode. I promise you that. So if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching on YouTube, like please give us a shout out, okay? And share this with your friends. Even if you just have to share the link. So the first video I'm going to play, and I know Davinia hasn't watched some of these videos, so everybody's going to be watching this all the time. But I am going to I do want to share a video. Okay. And the video that I want to share is going to be on about the video is going to be about men having the soft life. Okay. So I'm going to play the first part of this video. I want to let you guys know. I want you guys to tell me what you guys think. Okay. So let's talk about it.
I'm gonna be also transparent right now. I'm jealous that women could say I want a soft life, and you guys can find someone that's willing to give it to you. At no point in my life can I say I want a soft life and expect someone to give it to me. It just would never happen.
The thing about
So before she starts talking, I do want to know what you think about what he just said about you know a woman saying that, hey, I want a soft life, right? And somebody actually being there to provide it for them, or better yet, the question is having the societal expectation that somebody can provide that for you.
I that's funny you think that way, because I don't think a soft life is necessarily provided by a man. I believe a soft life is more like a mentality. Um, it's not like not having to work or not having any responsibilities or anything like that. It's more like a mindset, like a very like low stress, low pressure kind of like love, strong in self-love and self-confidence. Like it might be I deserve situation, but I don't think a soft life is necessarily, because somebody can sit there and give you everything and stress you the hell out, and I don't think that's a soft life, or be abusive or be weird. I don't know, but like
I agree.
so
So let's watch the rest of that video. Let's watch the rest of that
okay.
video. Hold on. Put it back up. Oh. My bad.
it, there are plenty of men who are out here living a soft life, but you have to be secure enough in your masculinity and your manhood to embrace it. Remember a couple of months ago, the influencer Drew Walls went viral on this app and also on Twitter because he was showcasing his like day in the life and he was doing like different hauls. He was like setting up his tripod in the parking lot at Target and in the aisles at Target, and everybody was giving him a hard time. But when he got that big contract with the NFL and was starting to make big money, and even Drake was trying to follow his videos, everybody thought it was cool then all of a sudden. We knew you guys were jealous of him then. We knew you guys were jealous of women who were getting princess treatment then. Just say that you want the same life. That's it. Just say that you also want flowers. Just say that you also want to be spoiled. Just say it. But hating on everybody who has the life that you want makes you a hater. And a hater is nothing but a misguided admirer. And that's all you guys ever were. The problem isn't that men like this want to live a soft life. The problem is that some men act like women don't deserve to. But 9 times out of 10, if a man is spoiling a woman, she's earned it. She deserves it. It's not like y'all are out here giving princess treatment to just anybody.
Yeah, I don't agree with that last part. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Hold on. You don't agree with the last part?
No, I didn't agree with that. I don't believe that every woman that gets it deserves it. I don't believe that. I feel like some just like every man that gets treated like a king doesn't deserve that either. I don't
All right. I thought you were talking about the part where she was like, whatever. Anyway, I agree. No, because I lost the quote, so I'm moving on. I agree with her where it's kind of a matter of communication, like, and I find that men have a hard time articulating stuff like that or a hard time asking. And so like I said, soft life is a mentality. I don't want to struggle. I don't think men should work until they die, and that's where their worth is at. Like, and there's other things, there's other ways to be actionable. So I get it, and I do think that sometimes I think a lot of men resent women.
A lot of men resent women?
Yeah.
Why?
For asking for things that they're not willing to ask for.
That's interesting.
Like, because they'll be judged, and not even only by the women, but by their peers.
Okay.
Okay, so for example, my ex during COVID, he got to stay home, and I know he struggled with that. Like, he got to stay home. I still had to go to work, but he was getting the checks and he was doing a little something, but he wasn't even able to embrace it. I had to sit him down and be like, hey, like, don't sweat it. Like, you should just take advantage of this, because as a man and a parent, when the hell are you ever going to get a chance to sit at home for however long you're going to get to sit at home? When would it ever be like okay for you just to do this? And like through that process, he ended up getting like custody of his daughter for a while. So he got to move his daughter for the first time since him and her mom broke up or whatever. So she was like super small, and I was like, just take advantage of it. And it was not something that he fell into easily.
No, it's hard. It's hard. I think I told you that story once when I was on vacation and I had a butler suite, and I wouldn't let the butler's butler because I felt like, you're doing too much, fam. And they're like, bro, it's my job. I'm like, yeah, but that mentality of, and I realized I realized this a couple of years before that when I was in Africa. I realized that so America trained me not to be worthy of service. Whereas
not be worthy of what?
Service.
Okay.
So I felt like America trained me like, yo, you know what's funny? Like, I've been in hotels and stuff like that in the States. I never had anybody say, I want to take your bags. That only happened to me in the last maybe 2-3 years. Oh, I'm going to take your bags. Never happened before.
Yeah.
I go out of the country, people taking my bags and shit. I'm like, oh, nah, I'm good. I got it. I didn't think that was a thing that people did unless they had like an obscene amount of luggage. I didn't know it was stuff that they just did for people because nobody ever offered it to me. So I'm used to doing everything on my own. And if I'm not doing, I don't feel worthy. Think about when your mom used to say to you, I don't know if she said it to you, but my family used to say it to me, hey, bruh, you ain't doing shit. Get up and do something. Be productive. That's the only time you serve value. Only time you have value is when you are productive.
Mm.
And oftentimes, if this, I do it to my kids sometimes. Y'all sitting around doing shit, but this house is dirty. Get the fuck up and clean up. But sometimes, even if the house was spick and span, it was, I don't want you laying around my house. Go find something to do. So
Yeah,
when
yeah, I've heard of that. I see
and you get a check for
some
staying
crazy
home,
examples of that.
it literally feels like, oh, I'm not doing nothing. I don't deserve this. And that's a societal hypnotism to make you feel like less of a person if you aren't productive. Meanwhile, this motherfucker sitting on their ass getting paid every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm gonna play a soft life video. I'm only gonna play one, but it's really it's a lot like religious, and I don't want to get into that debate right now.
Hold on a second. Can we got some good comments? So can I just
You
take a
gotta
second to
you gotta talk to the
look at
mic.
what they talked about? So Moody said, I think when a woman says soft life, I think it's the equivalent to when men say they want peace. I think that's a really good point.
Ooh, snaps to that.
Yeah,
Hell,
for real. That's a really good point.
hell.
I don't think of soft life as material possessions. Exactly. Same here.
I don't think so either.
It's like an energy. It's just like it's
Yeah.
very much unbothered, or just it's very secure. That's what it is. It's very secure.
I like the word unbothered.
Yeah.
Like unbothered, but being unbothered means the only way you could be unbothered legitimately is if you're secure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I want to play this other video. I'm gonna share it real quick, and I want you to know what you think about this. I might talk first on this one because he's talking to men, or at least from a male perspective. But obviously, feel free to chime in. So let's do it.
Something that keeps me relevant is while understanding I might have these gray hairs of wisdom, I'm never too old to learn from the young bulls. And I want to specifically shout out my guy Scarface Mark and the other homie Lil Goody. Because in talking to a lot of other gentlemen, what these brothers helped me realize is that since I married the woman of my dreams, this beautiful black queen, she has really provided me with a soft life. We have 3 daughters and a cute little puppy, a little puppy girl. Y'all say hi to Mimi. But just reflecting on what my wife and my daughters and what they mean for me or to me, and what they do for me, what they mean to me, bro. These young ladies, these young ladies have really provided me with a very soft life. Like I don't gotta do much. I really ain't gotta do much. Like they know how to pick me up when I'm down. They know how to be there for me when I need them. Man, listen, they meet me at the door when I get off work. Allow me to sit down, watch the game, relax. If I don't want to talk to them, they leave me alone. When I want to talk to them, we have conversations. A soft life for a guy is really the best life for a guy. Something that
I realized something that he said at the end of that video was kind of like, I want my woman to feed me and shut the fuck up. That's kind of the vibe I got from that. But more importantly, I also understood the point when he said, "Yo, when I don't want to talk, she leave me alone." Women don't understand how important that is. You understand what I'm saying? Like that's so important to me. When I don't want to say nothing to you, leave me the fuck alone. Real shit. And it's not because I don't like you, not because I don't love you, I just need the quiet. Like sometimes the world beat me up, and I might get a hug from you, and I don't need nothing else. Why else we talking? And I feel,
What are we talking?
yeah, word up. And I feel like sometimes like women they get offended by that because it's in your nature to speak way more than a man will. So it's like, damn, babe, why you not communicating like me? I ain't got to. I'm good. I'm gonna be all right, and I'm not like hiding no pain or nothing. I don't feel like this is where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Um,
So I feel like okay, feed me and leave me alone kind of thing. I really and so many men, lean into sports as an example of that. But it's really being free to enjoy yourself. For some men in sports, some men want to go work in the yard or in their man den or in the garage or wherever wherever it is for them. You know what I mean? It could be the golf course. It could be hanging out with his buds. Like, but being allowed to do that. Like, we joke about the sports, but I think that's important. It's important.
it's important for a man to have his life outside of you.
It's not just life outside of you. It's the stuff that makes us us is really what you see when people are doing what they want to do when they're not working. Those are the lanes that lead to like creativity and stuff like that. That's what I mean when it's like you're worth it. You're more than just working until you die. You're more than just like men need creative outlets too. They need community too. They need stuff
Life
to
outside of his woman.
disperse energy. Like,
I just damn said because
yeah,
a lot of the pushback comes back. Excuse me. A lot of the pushback comes from when men want to do things that have nothing to do with that woman. I want to go bowling. I want to go to the game. I want to hang out with my friends. It's almost like, and like you said, sometimes we joke about it, but it's often like, but why you always with your boys? Well, they provide me a certain level of vulnerability that I can't have with you. Why are you always playing your video game? Because I need a level of peace, and that sometimes that peace is me doing what I want to do when I want to do it. No, I don't
that's
want to
funny.
play the game.
I
I don't
had
want
a guy
to watch me play the
tell
game.
me
I want to do it.
that his way to like have fun and decompress is to like be in his house and just like not have to think about anything. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I said, but you require me to be there with you while you do that?
Because I want to be alone, but not by myself.
I understand that.
That's what it is.
But
I
for how
want to be
long?
alone. Leave me alone. But I don't want to be by myself.
And it was funny because that's where the conversation where it went, where it was like,
Shout out to Patricia.
yeah, you know me, I'm not really a homebody. Like, I want to doing something. So if you just want to like zone out in front of the TV or whatever, it's cool. Like, I'll sit there, lean on your shoulder and watch a show or two, but I'm not doing that all the time. Like, that's so when I was like, oh, okay, do I have to be there? He was like, yeah. And then I was like, well, if I wanted to go do something else, he was like, oh, that's when we compromise. That's when I what you want to go do? Like,
What you about to do? What you about to do? So listen, I want to talk about the next topic, and that is why men don't trust women to cradle their vulnerability. So I'm going to play another video.
all right.
This is the video that me and you both seen this video before. And I want to know what not only do we think, but I want to know what some of the women think as well. So if you do want to read some comments from Instagram is popping right now. With the comments, Facebook a little dead. I ain't gonna hold you. Facebook a little dead. Let me see what's going on. Yep, Facebook a little dead
You
right
said
now.
you can't see nothing on live on IG,
No, I can see everything.
but you can't see comments.
I can see everything I said. I just can't see.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Because mine's is frozen.
I got you. So I'm trying to see what Siri said. Apparently, she was preaching some gospel in there. She said insecure women do that. She said a secure woman wants to hang out with her girls too. Miss Moody said, I love me and my homegirl's time as much as I love Bay time. Both are important to me. So I definitely communicating is important. Yeah. She said, real, you so right. I know people who look like they have everything but are so insecure. That's a fucking fact. I definitely know that. All right, so I'm going to play this video. Ooh, where is it? Where is it? Let me find it first. All right. Boom, it's right here. All right. Let me get this together first. Let me set it up. Ooh, 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 ooh. You got to chill out, RG. You wildin'. All right, we're going to share this video real quick and see what y'all think on it.
That woman ain't interested in complaint.
Yeah, once you start complaining and dragging your
She don't want to hear no complaint. The day you come home and think, you could be like, hey, I was down, I lost it. She gonna be stroke your ego, but she gonna remember that time. You cannot let them see you one time.
When's the last time you opened up to a woman?
We don't.
They gonna tell you can't.
Whenever something go down, they gonna throw it back in your face.
So that's
why. That's why. So you can't ever.
All right, so boom. I remember Shaq said that. It went viral. And I didn't disagree with him. So I'm going to say a couple things, right?
Yeah.
So remember when you said when your ex-boyfriend was at home, it didn't really sit well with him? That's kind of what they were saying in that moment. If you have a weak moment, or if you have a moment where you feel like, because your value is misplaced, a man feels like his value is only in doing. So if my value is only in doing and I'm not doing, I don't want to show my woman that side, because if I'm not doing or not doing well enough, she will never forget it. And one day, all women have done this, some shit will come up from 2018 that I forgot about, and she's going to bring that shit the fuck up. Especially, listen, I got other videos that other people talking about this shit too. Especially if I'm talking about something that's holding her accountable. She might bring up some old shit that got to do with me. And that's real shit. And at the end of the day, how can I be vulnerable with you if that's even on the table? Oh, like with any situation with vulnerability, the person has to show you that you are allowed to be vulnerable in this space.
Yeah.
Women don't always know how to present that.
They don't. I agree with that.
A man is automatically on defense because since childhood, since we were 7, we had to be a little man. Especially men who were raised by a single mom. Especially men who was raised by a single mom. I see it in my brother all the time. Like, there were certain things I didn't have to do because my dad was there. My dad would say, no, put that down, I got it. When my brother was with my mom, he couldn't put that shit down. He had to grab it. He was the only man in the house when I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So that pays a big dividend to when it's time for me to be vulnerable and say, yo, I ain't got it. I'm fucked up. And this is what money, this is what your mental state, this is what your strength, your physical ability. A woman will take care of you, but she's going to nurse you back to health so you can keep doing the thing. And when it's like, yo, I didn't say that's what it was, but that's our mentality. That's how we view it. That's
so that you can keep doing the thing, and so she gonna do it so you can keep doing the thing. Is that because we want you to do the thing, or because you want to do the thing? Because I mean, like,
because
do
society,
we leave you crippled?
Because society expects us to do the thing, so she demands it, and I require it for my value.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That be what it is. And then we get in these situations where it's like, why you don't want to talk to me? Damn, you gonna bring us some shit. I don't want to talk about that. You know what I mean? And it shouldn't be that way. But oftentimes society.
No, it shouldn't be that way. You can grow up with your parents and still not know how to create safe spaces.
I agree.
And I also feel like people who hold themselves to really, really strict standards don't tend to project that onto others. So, you know, like, you know, if like just because I hold myself to a certain standard doesn't mean that somebody else around me shouldn't be able to like voice what's going on and stuff. Like, they can't relate to people. Like, not just women, men too. Like, I've been told, I'm a big crybaby. I've had men be like, please don't cry. And I'm like, you don't have to. I had to preface it like, I don't have control over this. It's something that happens when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm mad. I will tear up. So I'm going to sit here and that's all I'm speaking right now. Even though you see tears, I need you not to panic. Don't panic. Just listen to what I'm saying. If you want me to turn away from you, I'll turn away from you. And I feel like it's kind of like the same thing.
The fact that has to be prefaced is like wow concerning to me. Like those,
because sometimes people, I mean, it doesn't have to be practice, but if it makes, I know it's going to make this person, it's going to distract from what I'm saying, and I can't turn it off. So I need you to listen. Now you're going to make it about why I shouldn't be upset. Let's not do that. You know what I mean?
I understand.
So I've had to be in situations like that, and that's something I've dealt with my whole life. And I kind of feel like it's the same way with, you know, men being vulnerable. It's like, all right, you kind of gotta, and I think I know you said the fact that I had to preface that was wild, but I don't think it is. I think it's a healthy part of communication. I feel like men should be able to set the stage for their emotions as well. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of communication, like, hey, can I talk to you about something? You know, everyone hates the text from women like, we need to have a talk.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It gives people goosebumps. Everyone hates seeing that shit. But if you really have, like, I really need to talk to you and I really need you to listen, and I don't think that's too much to do before you go and bite somebody's head off. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but sometimes like I get anxiety when people say we need to talk. Or I got something on my chest or something. It's never a good thing. So I get anxiety automatically.
Oh yeah, I struggle with that too. That's why I'm such a
I'd rather somebody preface that a different way. But
I'm a ranter. Like, I have to get it off my chest, or I'm not gonna be able to communicate about anything else. Like, I can't play the game, and I can't act like shit is cool when it's not. So it's gonna fuck up my communication everywhere else until the time.
No, I get that part, but what I'm saying is communication just isn't communication. People just communicate and think that it's effective, efficient, and healthy communication. Like that's not it. Like,
Absolutely.
I feel like every time if you have to cry, you have to preface that you're gonna cry. Like, what is it about me that makes you feel like I'm gonna be uncomfortable when you cry? I should be able to accept that. That's why I said it's crazy. That's why I said I think that's subjective. But
I agree, and I also feel like it has something to do with understanding and knowing your partner. Like, if you knew this about me, then when it happened, you wouldn't be like, you're like,
that's what I'm saying. That's the point. And about ranting, I'm not gonna hold you. No nigga I've ever met in the whole fucking world likes it when his woman rants. Now, he may understand it, he may put up with it, he may have patience with it. No nigga likes it. Because ranting is what your mom does when you didn't clean up your toys. Ranting is what the ex that you got on your nerve did when you was out with your boys. And it's like, I don't want to hear that. Talk to me in the way that I understand. And that's the thing that women and men don't always do well, is that we don't like to talk to the other partner in the language that the other one can understand. I have to talk to you the way you can understand. Like, I listened to something that Dr. Umar said the other day, that even when you're right, hear her out and have the patience to shut the fuck up. And I was like, damn, that's hard. And I definitely did it like a couple of days later where I was dead right. And I'm looking at somebody like this, like, because I knew I was right. And I didn't really want to hear what she had to say. But there was some things in there that I was able to see parts of her that she was revealing to me, even though she was wrong. And I was like, oh, that's the insecurity. I need to address this really quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I don't know if you ever saw this video, but the idea, the thing you said about your ranting is what your mom does, like when you didn't do the dishes or something like that. And there was this video I saw, and this lady was talking about the difference between how men and women are raised.
Yes.
And how a woman might deal with her daughter versus how a woman might deal with her son.
Vice versa.
And how that interaction teaches girls and boys what to expect in the interaction. And so it's kind of like a mom to her daughter is like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? You're being a hoe. Stop running around like that. Da, 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 da. You didn't clean well enough. Da, da. Like, super critical. And then teaching the girl that that's how you communicate. That's how you get what you want. It's setting the stage for that level of communication. and then goes to her son and be like, "Oh, baby boy," and coddling him, and so you know what I mean. So, and then when he goes and looks out for a partner, he's looking for someone who resembles his mother and coddles them, and they're both not healthy. You know what I mean, and also not healthy forms of communication. But also the other extreme where your son is now the man, or your man, or the man of the house, or
That got to be a topic one of these days. That got to be a topic. But I don't want to touch on that right now. So I do want to play this next video because I do want to get your thoughts on not just what the woman says, but the interaction and the response to it. I'm going somewhere with this, so come on with it. Everybody watching, if you haven't shared this video yet with your people, please share this video. I told you this is going to be a dope one. Put it in their inbox. Put it in, text them the link. Whatever you got to do. Make sure they watch this video. All right? Let's go. Our video, not the ones we playing.
About this, our men don't know how to communicate.
Communication is key.
With maintaining a soft life.
With maintaining a soft life.
You would say men don't communicate. I would say men speak a different language.
Say it.
Women communicate differently than we do. As a man, regardless if I'm the breadwinner or not, I have to be able to come to you and say, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to plan this. I have to be able to set the blueprint for it.
Yes.
And I think that's where a lot of this is getting lost. I think that's where a lot of couples are breaking down.
To see the full episode.
So I think a lot of what he just said was some things that you just said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely some things that you just said. And I think that that's appreciative of what you said, because it's like, and it's also what I said too. It's like we speak a different language. You got to understand that other language. And I think without that, how can a man be vulnerable if we're not talking the same language? How can you create a safe space for me when you don't know how to communicate?
Well, can I ask you something?
I can tell you what a safe space is for me, because like men and women do this. It looks different, but we do the same thing. We never quite say outright what we want initially. There's a lot of context clues in there. And I feel like women and how women were raised, based on what you were saying before, they feel like they could talk, they have to talk to and at a man in order to understand things, instead of picking up on the nuance of what it is you want to say. Men are taught that we have to pick up on the nuance on what a woman wants to do. Because she's not going to tell you she wants to fuck right away. Well, most women won't. You got to pick up on the nuance. She might not tell you that, she likes you at work, but she might flirt with you a certain way. I got to pick up on the nuance. She might not tell you she's uncomfortable, but she's showing me signs. I have to pick up on the nuance. I feel like a really good relationship is when both people can do that with one another. And then that's when the communication thrives. But when you have women that look at men and say, why isn't he saying these things to me, as opposed to saying, let me pick up on his mannerism and his nuances, I think that's where men start to feel like there is no safe space for me here. And a lot of
how much of that is bad communication? Okay, so I want to just reference how people teach women to be feminine, and that being direct is not necessarily viewed as being feminine. Like, we're told to be oh, if you like a guy, you don't go and tell him. You hold his gaze, and you smile at him, and you're coy, and you make him come to you, and you dress like you're available, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Does that shit get shut off when you get into a relationship? You know what I mean? So there's that as well. You being I understand the nuance, but that comes with intimacy. That comes with knowing, and that takes time, real time.
Mm-hmm.
You might need a safe space before the intimacy is there. And I feel like it comes down to some basic trust things. Oof. I have this theory. I already told you. I think to me, sometimes guys think sex or getting the girl don't really think about the process.
Say that again.
I said sometimes I think guys think like hitting or getting the girl, like girlfriend relationship, if they even want a relationship, is like the end of the road. Like that's since it's their goal, they don't always take into account in that process. Like I feel like a lot of relationships started because a guy wanted to hit and then found out he actually liked the chick. Like, and I kind of feel like you gotta want somebody you can be vulnerable with. You have to find somebody who you can trust. Like, I think we need to take responsibility for ourselves. Like, I want somebody who's not gonna freak out every time I see her. Like,
Say that again.
that's important to me.
Say that again.
I said I want somebody who's not gonna freak out every time I see her. Like, that's important to me. Like,
Right.
yeah.
But I feel like that also goes into the nuances of what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, but I'm talking about my side of it. Like,
No,
when I'm evaluating people that I want.
Nevertheless, I think what I'm saying is universal. I think a man who claims to be in love with you and that you accept that love from him, I think it's important for him to understand the nuance of your personality in that way. And it shouldn't be a conversation. Let me tell you, one of the things I appreciated about my ex the most, she knew something was fucked up with me. She could hear it in my voice. She could hear how it cracks. I don't know how she says my cadence changes. I don't know this to be true, but this is what she said. She was like, "Nah, nigga, what's up?" Guess what? There would be times that her and I was out, and I look at her right in her eyes like, "Ah, yo, we about to head out," because I knew she didn't want to be there no more. That's not bad communication. That's the epitome, the zenith of communication. I can read my woman and say, "Oh, she don't want to be here no more." Maybe I confirm with some words. "Hey, baby, you all right? You ready to go?" "Yeah, I'm ready to get up out of here."
What if she lied though? Like, you're talking about what you're receiving, but what she didn't communicate with you?
Why would I assume that? Like, why? And this is another part of it. Why
No,
would I?
I'm literally talking about when you're like, "You okay, baby?" Like, you're looking at her weird, or she hears your voice cracking, you go, "Yeah, I'm good."
Then that's not what we're talking about here. I'm talking about if I can see that in my mate, we're beyond the point of me having a lie to fake the funk. We're talking about.
No.
Hey, yo.
You can pick it up.
What?
You can pick it up without having to be beyond the point of faking the funk. Just because you pretend, it doesn't mean I don't know you're pretending.
That's not what I'm saying, because I feel like if you're still doing that in a relationship, then one person is communicating on a higher level than the other. Because if I know you said something to me and you say, "Yo, Devon, like, you all right? Like, you sound like you're really not yourself," and I'm like, "Nah, I'm good," then now I'm fucking up the communication. I'm supposed to then say, I'm not okay, and here's why. That's the epitome. That's the zenith that I'm talking about. Sometimes we do need verbal validation, but if I am to know you the way I'm supposed to know you, I can look at your face and tell you and say something is wrong. Sometimes it requires me saying, "Tell me what's wrong." Sometimes it requires me hugging you or holding your hand. That's what I'm talking about. And then for the person to receive that communication, then it is important of that person to be honest when the verbal validation is being asked of them.
Do you think vulnerability is easier for women?
Yes.
Why?
I don't want to get into that now, but I think it's easier for women because women are more vulnerable with women than men are with men.
You said women are more vulnerable with who?
Women are more vulnerable with women than men are with men. And growing up, most men are with men more, and most women are with women more. So you start to gain those values through your adolescence, your teenage years, and when you're a young adult. I would hang out with my niggas all the time. I wasn't talking to them how I felt, how I feel. You know what I mean? How girls feel. Meanwhile, girls would get into a powwow. And matter of fact, I'm gonna play that video right now because now we here. And matter of fact, that goes into another topic that we were going to talk about. Is men feel it's weird to be vulnerable with male counterparts, which is a thing. And I remember the video I wanted to find. So, This one is on TikTok, and I actually want to play what this guy says because I think it goes to what it answers some of the question that you had. Damn, your phone froze on a great. If somebody screenshot, man, listen. Oh shit! All right, let's do it. Don't add remove from stage. Let's share. Sorry about that.
Moody, why do you disagree? Type it out while we looking for this video. Because I don't know if I agree with all of that.
All right, boom. Listen.
% of men say they don't have one male friend they can open up to. They can go to the bar to and have a drink with. They can watch a game with. They can play sports with them. But they don't feel like they can open up to one male friend. And when I used to go around and speak about masculinity, I'd go to audiences and have about 50% men and women. And I remember asking the question to the women, saying, women, raise your hand if once a week you get together with at least one girlfriend, if not multiple girlfriends, and you talk about your challenges, your insecurities, your relationship issues, your body insecurities or doubts. And almost every woman raised their hand that once a week they get together with at least one girlfriend, if not a group of girlfriends over lunch with their mom or their sister, and talk about these things. And I said, ladies, keep your hands up if you do this every day. And pretty much everyone had their hand up and they all kind of laughed. They're like, they're calling their mom, they're talking to someone. I say, okay, for the men in the room, raise your hand if once a month you get together with one guy friend and talk about your insecurities, your body issues, your relationship challenges, your fears, your doubts, your concerns. Usually in a room full of hundreds of men, one or two would raise their hand.
So in what I was saying, right, is that I feel like that's something that comes from adolescence, where I grew up, and again I can tell you all my male friends, the closest I ever came to crying with a group of my friends, not to say that women do this, but the expectation, is different in society, was when, whatever happened with my daughter, and then my guy friends came over to check on me, and they were like, all right, I hear you told me the story, that shit was crazy. I'm glad that happened and it resolved itself. But how are you? And you know why I almost broke down? Because before that, when my son was in the hospital all those months, nobody in my family, none of my real close friends was like, how do you feel? When that shit happened with my daughter, most of my family and most of my friends and all of my family was like, yeah, shit's fucked up. But nobody was like, but how do you feel? And it was the first time I had men sit with me and be vulnerable and say, yo, I need to find out how you're doing, because I can only imagine what you're going through right now. That doesn't happen. That's the only time in my life that's ever happened. The only time. And I think that starts from childhood. And I think that as I grow up, I'm less likely to be vulnerable with you because I haven't been practicing vulnerability as a teenager. And I feel like girls, whether consciously or unconsciously, you do that with your girlfriends. You'll say, I'm mad that Brad did some bullshit, and I'm not going to my niggas talking about my relationship advice. I'll tell a nigga I smashed the joint before I tell him she broke my heart.
So I hear what you're saying, but I like.
Do you though?
I do. I just don't. I don't equate being able to talk about my body and my emotions or my insecurities with other women who I know will do the same thing as necessarily being vulnerable. It might be being open, and not all women are open, and not all women are like friendly. Like, in fact, women handle women quite violently a lot of times in our own woman way. I don't think being able to have a friend where you can talk about stuff that might be considered TMI automatically means you're being vulnerable.
Yes,
Like,
it does. All right, so let me stop you right there.
So like, you know me as a just listen.
I want to listen to you. I just want to say this one thing. That's what I mean about the different languages of men and women. Exactly what you said right there. You feel like it's not. I absolutely feel like it is.
But we're talking about language you use with other guys. That's not something we can fix.
Oh, you just said that talking about body issues and stuff like that is something you don't deem to be vulnerable. I'm telling you that it is. For me, it's vulnerable. One of my mans, a couple of years ago, that nigga almost died. You know when we found out? At a fucking baby shower. He didn't say nothing to us. Bro, you lost a little weight. What's going on? Oh, man, I had this shit. Nigga, I had to have a surgery. Nigga, why you ain't tell nobody? Nigga, I'm alive. What the fuck? That's vulnerable for us. It may not seem nothing to you. But that's what I'm saying about the differences of languages. I'm saying, yo, that's not vulnerable to us. You like,
I think that's an issue about love. Why wouldn't you think your friends love you enough to know that you almost died?
it goes back to childhood. You like, I feel like I'm saying it to you, and this is a good case study in real time. I'm saying to you, I can't give you the answer. Like, I can't break down because it has to be way more nuanced, especially on the different men that are having these conversations with one another. But we're not trained, whether it be genetic or societal. We are not trained to have these open conversations with another man. Like,
or women.
But it comes way more natural to you. And again, I can't even surmise to the reason why.
No, I said you're not. I'm not saying that women don't know how to do it. I'm saying y'all don't know how to do it with men or women. Women are the ones that bring it up because we're like, oh, why aren't you being vulnerable in a relationship? But y'all don't even do it amongst yourselves.
But what I'm saying is, and I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but what I'm saying to you is, if I've never done it with men, what makes you think that I'm going to do it with you? If I never did it with my boys growing up, most likely, all right, I give a perfect example. You know how me and you always talk about how just because you wear a certain outfit doesn't mean a nigga got to talk to you any kind of way. Right?
Yeah.
He was around niggas that talk to women like that all the time. What's going to happen when he gets to that age? He's going to most likely talk to women like that who dress a certain way. It's the same concept. If I'm around men and men aren't talking to men about things that make us men, things that make us human, as you said in the beginning of this conversation, it's not going to make any difference when I get to you, because now it's ingrained to me that why am I talking to you about my health for? I ain't dead. I can still go work. And you're like, that's not how it's supposed to go. Why? Because when you were younger and you had your period, I bet you talked to your girlfriends about that. You had to talk to somebody about it at some point. I'm not saying it was a crazy TMI conversation, but you brought it up.
So, all right, we got Siri said not that is different. Everyone has to define what is vulnerable to them. You cannot say what I should consider as vulnerable. And I think that's very important because to me, some of this stuff is common sense. Like, you're unhealthy, you almost exited this existential plane. It should hold weight to people who care about you. Women talk about stuff because a lot of our body issues are internal. How else are we supposed to know? We need to check ourselves. And I feel like if men like y'all get together for sports and stuff, but won't get together to talk about your house.
No. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. We don't find out niggas
like I said, I'm an open person. This is why I was trying to use myself as an example. Like, I can talk about a lot of stuff with a lot of people, and I can listen to a lot of stuff from a lot of people, and be open to receive without necessarily being vulnerable to it. I listen and I open up my energy to people all the time without becoming vulnerable to it. It doesn't do anything to me because I don't let it. And people confuse me being open and sharing my experiences, my truths, and my thoughts as being vulnerable, but I've given them no power.
Oh, so you think vulnerability is giving someone power?
Yeah.
I don't like that dynamic.
I bet you don't.
No, not because of the secret reasons that you know my personality, nigga. That's not what I mean. I don't like that dynamic because I feel like um that means being vulnerable is automatically putting yourself in a one up, one down.
I understand that, and I feel like that's why men don't ever want to be vulnerable, because to say that you need help means that you are at a down, and that's up to you to perceive it that way. I don't view me sharing shit I've gone through that maybe y'all think I should be fucking ashamed of. That's me to decide. I've accepted and healed myself. I love myself, and I know I could not be who I am today if I didn't go through those things. So I have a different type of gratitude and a different perspective on it. That's not for you to determine whether I should be ashamed of myself. Like, that's crazy. So I don't give them the power. You don't get to determine that shit for me. Like,
No, I agree. I agree.
and so I feel like men, when you're afraid to open up, not only are you admitting that you are weak or human or could be in that down position, you're trying to mask it. Like, you can't. Like, everyone knows it. Like, it's a facade. And like I said, you can be open without being vulnerable. You got to choose to be vulnerable. I open with strangers, but I would expect to be able to be vulnerable in my relationship. And so when stuff like emotions or something disturbs something like a relationship that I think should be somebody who should know me, that's a problem. And I feel like we can give men the floor, we can bring the horse the water, but we can't make the horse drink. And I hate to say that opening up and being honest and being transparent puts you, that sounds real fucked up, that puts you up at an up down, but potentially and potentially you played the thing with Shaq, and Shaq goes, oh well, you can't open up to women, you can't be vulnerable to women because they're going to throw it back in your face. That's showing someone your weaknesses, is that's why it's a vulnerability. It's a weak point. It's some place where you can be broken. That's like, but if you accept your weak points and someone tries to do that to you, then you just see them for who they are. It doesn't take anything away from you.
I agree with that. I'm gonna play this video. Let me know what you think about this one.
All right.
Definitely see a harder transition for men when it comes to asking for help in therapy. Tend to see a little bit more resistance to opening up and being vulnerable. In psychology, we talk about how men typically view things in more of a hierarchical way. So if you are asking for help, the other person you're asking for help from is here and you're down here, so you're in a weakened position. And society has taught men that they shouldn't be vulnerable in that way, whereas women don't tend to see it that way. Women tend to view things in more of an egalitarian way. I'm helping you, you're helping me. This all works out well. I had a show for 6 seasons called Couples Therapy. And on my show, I worked with a lot of men who were people who you wouldn't expect to be in therapy. People who were rappers, people who were reality TV stars, people who were high profile. And one of the things that happened a lot after my show was that other men would come to me and say, like, you know what, I never thought I would ever consider therapy, but I saw DMX do therapy and it seemed to really help him. So I want to do it now. So I think that men having role models when it comes to mental health is really important, and seeing celebrities, seeing people who they respect who actually participate in therapy and talk about therapy is a really important part of changing the stigma for men and mental health. I definitely.
So what she said is kind of aligning with what I was saying earlier, where role model, she is the word that she used, which is not a bad word, but I looked at it from that perspective. How you see it, how you view the world, biologically and genetically, is different from how I view the world biologically and genetically. which then turns into why boys play with each other differently and why girls play with each other differently. What do boys do? We want to roughhouse. We want to play football and beat each other up and play fight and shit like that. Girls ain't really doing that. How y'all go about things is more like, let's establish a community. Now, there may be a hierarchy within that community. I'm the one who's leading the tea party today or whatever it is, but girls are going to do it in a different way. We're going to establish the dominance about who's stronger, who's faster, who's quicker, who's smarter, and everything is almost a competition, even when people aren't really competitive. That starts to shift the view that you have in reality. Just plain and simple. And I think that when it starts to come to what's vulnerable, like you look, and so like when you said, Siri said, you can't define what somebody says is vulnerability. And it's like, no, you can't. But I'm also telling you what we deem as vulnerable. And what we, and it may be different than what you deem as vulnerable. Something that may be difficult for you to do may be easy for me to do. Something that's easy for you to do may be the hardest shit. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you do that. And I feel like that's what happens when we talk about vulnerability between men and women and what, that vulnerability looks like. When you've had to have hard conversations your whole life, and then you have those same kind of reinforce those conversations with your girlfriends growing up, it's way different than how men go about it. So as we get to be adults, the language that I speak is way different. And then if I tell you, yo, this thing about my house is hard for me to speak about, and I'm not saying that you would do this, Davinia. And matter of fact, I know that you, as known you for as long as I have, I don't think that you would ever do this. But if you have responded to me the way you did, was like, that's not being vulnerable. That's common sense. How do you think I'm going to respond to that? How do you think I'm going to receive that? Although you might be right. I should tell you if my colon falls out of my ass. Oh, I didn't know it was going to happen. Give me some tape. No, nigga, go to the hospital. You might be like, yo, that's not something that's vulnerable, bro. This is important, pertinent information for me to know as the person who's with you. And I might be like, nah, you don't get it. But if you respond like, you fool, like, what did I say? Now my mom is talking to me again. Now I'm being ridiculed in the way that...
All right, I have to say it differently. You silly goose. Take your ass to the doctor. Like...
Whatever works. But the point, do you see what I'm saying? It's the different levels of communication are massive when it comes to this. And both men and women are guilty of speaking their own language to the other person and hoping that they understand them.
This is why women have to manipulate y'all. Because why do I have to trick you?
I agree.
Why do I have to trick you?
I agree.
And when you said that, and I was like, yeah, I would rephrase it. I'm literally thinking about how I deal with men. I have to be conscious of how they're going to perceive little things that to me just make sense. Like, and package it in a way that's not a fucking attack on him. Like, this is
crazy. But think about this. How many times does a man have to tiptoe around some shit that he could just tell his guy friend? Perfect example. When the woman says, how do I look in this? If my man came out his room and was like, yo, this shit look stupid, nigga, take that shit the fuck off. You look like an idiot. That's exactly how I would say it to him.
I would tear that shit off my body and have it in the garbage in no second.
And right, but I would say that to him, and he'd be like, yeah, I knew I was tripping. Go back in the room and change his shit. To you, that's vulnerable. If you came out and I said to you, how do I look in this? That shit looks stupid as fuck, bitch. Throw that shit in the garbage. You're going to be like, oh my God, this nigga.
Emotional damage.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I get it, but not
that's vulnerability to me. But that's a different language to you. So what does a man have to do?
It's not a different language.
It is. You think that's Japanese. A man gonna look at you and say, nah, babe, you look good, but maybe I would do that a little different. He has to word it in a certain way. He can't say, that's what you're wearing outside. He has to word. That goes back to what I was saying originally about the nuance of the personality. I am bred to be aware of how to speak to a woman day in, day out, from the morning to the night. How I deal with my mother, I can't deal with my dad. I have to understand what mood she's in. So when it comes to what my woman needs and wants, I have to pick up on shit. What do women complain about the most? He don't listen to me. He didn't. I said all these different things about what I like and what I want. That nigga ain't say nothing about them. Men don't complain about that shit until we in therapy. This bitch don't listen to me. Where's the lie? This is real shit. So at the end of the day, when I have to say the nice way to say this is what you're wearing, women are looking at, when I'm saying this is my vulnerability.
Maybe this is a fire sign problem. Maybe we just have this problem because we're fire signs.
Nobody else.
Take that shit off. Take your ass.
The fuck you got? 90 degrees outside, you got on some fur, bitch. Come out, it's cool because they had it online. Care about that shit.
Shit, yo.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly believe that. I wholeheartedly believe that. That's the thing. I feel like there's another video that actually talks about something similar to that. Hold on, let me watch this one real quick.
So I'll say that having that level of communication with people is rare because your partner has to know you, and this is where you're talking about nuance, and I'm talking about intimacy like that. If I tell you take that shit off, it's not because I'm not attracted to you or I don't like you. You have to understand I'm not attacking you. I'm not your enemy. You know what I mean? Like there has to be some basis of trust there that you will receive. Because I don't want you to go outside looking crazy. You know, I'm really acting on me having your back. I just didn't sugarcoat it for you. I probably had a nice little chuckle at your expense because I love that shit. But like,
fight sound problem. But check it. I'm gonna play this video, and I think this video is not only talking about like women's accountability, but also like the different language that we were talking about earlier. Check this out. If I can play it. Oh, I'm trying to tap it from the screen. I'm trying to tap it from the Instagram. I mean, from the studio.
When I see couples, if it's a heterosexual couple, it's the wife who's like, you know, I really want to get closer to you. I feel like we're a bit disconnected. Can we talk about this? And so he starts to open up to her. Maybe he starts crying. And inevitably, she will look at me like a deer in headlights. Like, I don't feel safe when you don't open up to me, but I also don't feel safe when you're being this vulnerable with me. Because it's not just men feeling like, oh, other men are going to judge them for opening up. It's that women don't quite know how to deal with a man who's being vulnerable. Somehow it makes them feel unsafe. It makes them anxious. I see that when I see couples, if it's a heterosexual couple,
so think
it's
about
the wife who's like,
sorry about that, y'all. I double tap. Think about this. And I feel like you and I had a private discussion about this maybe last year when we first started doing the podcast. And I said to you, no, I think we agreed that most women just want to feel safe, whether it be finances, whether it be, you know, with her health and well-being, sexually, her feelings, whatever. A man's main job is to make a woman feel safe. And a lot of the reasons why she complains and does some of the stupid shit that she would do is because she doesn't feel safe. When a man, now let's say that this woman does have some insecurities and her man being the safe space for her, which is actually making an epiphany in my head right now. And the man having a safe space for her is a way for her to be more confident, be more this, be more that, because her man is the safe space. Even when he's not present physically, she knows he's around. When he starts to be vulnerable, starts to cry, starts to show weakness, he can't do, maybe he's feeble physically because of an accident or illness or something like that, she no longer feels safe. So now that she's out of her safety, her insecurities start to show. Because she no longer has that thing to back her. I feel like if a woman isn't, taught, if a woman doesn't learn how to be safe outside of the space within her man, I think that's when you see that dynamic happen most. Woman
I agree.
Wrong outside of him when he is weak, she will step up because her strength has always been there. And she's more likely to be strong enough to pull him out of the trenches, as opposed to say, what do we do now?
So I won't say that it's the emotional aspect that scares us. It'd be like, okay, so this is where we're at, especially if he's not used to opening up. For him to be crying is not so much being like, oh, I can't trust him, or I don't feel safe. It's, I need to know the severity of this so I can know if my house is burning down or not. Because, and the reason why her insecurities come out is because her job is to support him. And so if he is decreased or whatever in whatever aspect that he's shook in, she has to be confident in herself that she's going to be able to hold him up and bludgeon him or whatever, or step into the role. So if she's insecure, that's when they go, but now she's scared because she doesn't know if herself can do it. When I had my child and my ex-husband stayed home to watch our baby so I could start my new career, I had to be confident enough to be able to do that. Now I'm the breadwinner. I have to perform. I have to be responsible. If you aren't used to doing that, then yeah, that might bring some insecurities to the surface. So it's not, I feel like men just be like, oh, when I was vulnerable or emotional, you know, you got triggered. It's because she's not confident in her ability to do her part. Like even when it comes to stuff like comforting your man, if he's never opened up to you as vulnerable, you don't have the nuance to know what he needs. Some people want you to problem solve. Some people just want you to listen. Some people just want your presence. Somebody, you know what I mean? Somebody just wants you hearts and prayers over them. And some like women, I was told, a friend sent me a video the other day, and it was talking about, and we're talking about the little ranty thing I said earlier, that when a woman has an issue, she wants to talk about it. She wants to spill her guts out through her she wants to talk about it. And sometimes I have to tell people, like, I don't need you to solve the problem. I just need you to listen. Sometimes I just need a board to bounce my ideas and feelings off of, because I'll know what to do, but this is part of my process. And said that when men talk about the stuff that's bothering them, it makes their anxiety worse. When women talk about the stuff that's bothering them, it eases their anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
If she don't know that because you ain't never been here with her, she might trigger you. Like,
I agree.
And this is why I say that people can only meet you as far as you show up authentically in a relationship.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to manage this because it's new territory, but we've been doing this for 5-6 years. Like, why is new territory 5-6 years and have to be mediated by a fucking stranger who's taking our money? Like,
I agree with that. I agree with that. So I want to play 2 more videos before we go, cause your boy getting a little hungry. I want to play this one. I have the video. I do have the video, but I want to play it from here since I got it up. It is what it is. It's also about a man being vulnerable.
and I'm peeping. I can't respond to the conversation in the chat no more. But y'all, Siri and Moody, thank you for your thoughts on this, because y'all hitting some points in the comment section.
Hey man, I definitely seen that too. All right, let's listen to this.
How do you deal with a man that is more sensitive than you?
It gets strange for me in conversations like these when we talk about one party being more sensitive or more soft, and a lot of times that kind of boxes men in, and it's alarming, because if a man can't be sensitive and soft in his relationship, then where can he be? Like I'm like I don't know too many men that don't want to take their guard down with their old lady.
Great point.
Like I don't want to have to come home and protect myself from you. Like do you know what I gotta go through out in the world, and then to have to come home and guard and tiptoe with you because I can't be vulnerable? Like even when we use the word soft, Bro, a man being hard all the time will destroy him. Get you a man that got to be hard all the time and see how he handle you. Bro, a man has to find softness in himself to properly handle those parts of you. Empathy is like a huge quality that's necessary for a healthy partnership. And in order to empathize, one almost has to see oneself. And if a man can't see himself in your emotions, if he can't see himself in your softness, then again, what do you think he's going to do? So when you talk about not wanting a man that's more sensitive than you, that's you falling into training that cuts pieces of a man off. And then you complain about those pieces being missing when he show up at your doorstep.
He brought that.
So there's another part of that video where dude said, you don't make him a man or don't say that because you automatically address him as a woman. And that's the worst thing you could do to a man. Just treat him like a human. And I was just like, that's it right there. And I feel like the way society teaches people how to deal with men is that we're less human, and emotionally, especially. Yeah. We don't, almost like we don't deserve that type of grace. And men reinforce it. Men reinforce it. Like men force that thing, that problem.
Did you see the conversation? It's a really famous clip of James Baldwin talking to a lady and her saying like,
we talked about that.
Yeah, like her saying basically, you treat everybody else outside the house a certain type of way, and then you come home to me and dump and unload. Where is he supposed to dump and unload at? If you want to be served, like you're my boss, like I'm still performing at work, like there's no respite.
That's when you get way more issues, man. And that's why niggas die earlier too. I'm not even saying that funny style. Stress literally causes the body to like perish, man. Yeah. Real shit. So I want us to use one more video because it coincides with the previous one. And this video is the one that took me an hour to find this video, but this video is so profound. So I want you guys to watch it and comment on this one too.
First 4 years of my study. And it wasn't until a man looked at me one day after a book signing and said, I love what you have to say about shame. I'm curious why you didn't mention men. And I said, I don't study men. And he said, that's convenient. And I said, why? And he said, because you say to reach out, tell our story, be vulnerable. But you see those books you just signed for my wife and my 3 daughters? Yeah. They'd rather me die on top of my white horse than watch me fall down. When we reach out and be vulnerable, we get the shit out of us. And don't tell me it's from the guys and the coaches and the dads. Because the women in my life are harder on me than anyone else. So I started interviewing men and asking questions. And what I learned is this. You show me a woman who can actually sit with a man in real vulnerability and fear, I'll show you a woman who's done incredible work. You show me a man who can sit with a woman who's just had it. She can't do it all anymore. And his first response is not, I unloaded the dishwasher. But he really listens, because that's all we need. I'll show you a guy who's done a lot of work. I did not interview men.
So that's what I was saying earlier. Women need to be heard. But with that being said, again, it's another point of women, therapists, and the like, saying that, yo, when we hear men speak, it's usually like, I don't mind being strong, but I can't be strong all the time. And this woman won't let me be weak. Sometimes that could be a good thing because you need to stroke his ego, put him back on that horse. Like, yo, you got to go get it. But there's sometimes where you got to say, get off that horse. Come home and be home. Be here. Be present. Don't be anywhere else but in the space of my femininity. And let me heal you. Like, I've been healed by cuddling with women, waking up the next day and feeling like a whole new nigga. We ain't need no conversation. We ain't need no crazy shit. I told her I was going through something, and she said, "Come here." I've taken flights to do this. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
Come here. You're good. You're safe. Because a lot of times, remember we said earlier, when the woman doesn't feel safe because of her insecurity, when the man is vulnerable and going through his shit, a lot of times men don't feel safe when they're vulnerable. And I don't mean I don't feel safe in this space. I don't feel safe with this conversation. I mean, like, I'm literally like watching my back, like, oh, who's hearing me? Who else is around? What else is going on with this? You get so insecure in that space because oftentimes, and again, I said it, from 7 years old, listen, I'll keep it 100 with everybody who's watching. I talk to my son differently from how I talk to my daughters. But not because he's a boy, but because he's going to be a man one day. I also talk to all three of my daughters different because they're 20, 13, and 4. So I don't talk to them the same. I view it the same way. I love them the same. I hug them the same. There's sometimes where I know he's afraid. I let him hold my hand. There's sometimes I know that he's just anxious. I let him hug me. There's sometimes I'm like, listen, you have to control your emotions way different. Because when you become a teenager or a man with muscles and you start to lose your temper, you will be looked at as a threat. You have to know these things. So those are conversations I have. Different. What I try my best not to do is make my son do shit that my daughters wouldn't do and vice versa. Y'all all got to take out the trash. It might be his job, but you got to do it too. So that I don't set these gender norms. I do treat boys and girls differently because boys and girls are different, but I don't have these gender norms that will trickle into how he views his vulnerability, how he views himself, how he views the confidence of understanding where the safe space is. To where I realized I was doing wrong because I never had a son before. So he is kind of my guinea pig son, right? That I see how he speaks to me differently when he's able to fully express himself. Because it's like, oh, I'm about to get in trouble because I'm expressing myself. And it's like, no, you have to express. I need you to express yourself here. And I do it without consequence so that he feels comfortable doing it, so that he feels comfortable being in safe spaces and being able to project himself. And that's important. And it's also important that I do it intentionally with him. Because the same thing I was saying a few conversations ago, women do it intentionally with one another. Whether you guys know it consciously or not, it's intentional. I'm going to talk about this, and that. So now as I get older, I'm like, what do you mean that's vulnerability? These are conversations that we have all the time. Yeah, I'm going to keep going back to that. Because
I don't like it. I feel like you are disregarding the risk women take by opening up to each other.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that because you do it, regardless of the risk, because you actually do it, puts you in a better position to dish it out as you get older. Which
I agree with that.
Men build it brick by brick. So what I'm saying is, every time I say that to you and you give me pushback, you're further reaffirming what it is that I'm saying about why men feel insecure in that space.
That's fine. I don't have a problem doing that. My point is this. Like, we talk about creating safe spaces, right? Because vulnerability is not safe. It's not a safe place in its way. You will be judged. You will be attacked. People will reject you. And y'all don't know how to take rejection. You can open up to someone and you have to understand that that's how you separate yourself from people who are not for you. You have to take the risk. You have to be rejected. You have to be willing to be hurt. You have to be willing to be told no.
So just like you said that men don't know how to be rejected, I can tell you equally, women don't know how to be rejected.
Okay, that's fair. Fine. I'm not arguing that.
Men have been rejected because there's a dichotomy with this. Men have been rejected by women since they were 9 years old. I tell people all the time, the hardest time for me to get pussy was when I was a teenager. Girls was, you know what I mean? No. I got to be 30. It was like, hey, giving it away. Niggas is on the corner selling the shit at the fucking fruit stand. But,
that's because they took it fucking. But anyway.
But what I'm saying is, we've been rejected in different ways. then you've been rejected. So by the time I get to be 30, a woman saying no to me as a mature man, not them niggas that be like, fuck you, stupid ass bitch. Not them niggas. Them niggas is different. I'm talking about as a mature man. By the time I get to the point where a woman can reject me or a woman's not into me in the way that I'm into her, I can kind of just be like, nigga, this has happened in my whole life. All right, sweetie. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Nice to see you. Going about my day. Right? Now, the opposite of that is I've never been rejected from being vulnerable because I've never been vulnerable. So now when it is time for me to be rejected when I'm adult and I'm being vulnerable, I shut down and have nothing to say to you. Women are used to being approached by men their whole life. When they want to give pussy to somebody and they give it to them, that's how it's supposed to go. A second you want to give it, the nigga like, nah, I'm good. You never talk to that nigga again. You're not going to spin the block on him. Let me see if he want me again. No. Why? Because your whole life you've been treated a certain way. So when you get to a certain part of your adulthood, it's hard to manage those emotions. It's equal footing. How many times have I told you a woman's vagina is equated to a man's emotions? The vulnerability as we get to be older is not that different in weighted value for the other person.
So I was going to say that I think your idea of rejection is very one-dimensional and very true to the thing that like men define their worth by how much pussy they should get. Because we get rejected every day in all other different ways. It's not that women don't know how to accept rejection. They might not be used to accepting rejection sexually, but we get rejected by our peers all the fucking time. As someone who was picked on, who was cast out, who didn't fit the norms, I can safely say that I was not absent. In fact, it made me more vulnerable to men. Because I had something men wanted, and they weren't going to reject me sexually. But I couldn't trust women. What do you mean?
I get that. I feel like women are also worse to women. I also feel like that's also why niggas don't open up to other niggas. This bitch ass nigga crying over some girl all the fucking time, you suck ass nigga. That's real shit. That happens. That's why I said there's so much nuance to why it happens. And why women eventually start, what's the word? Women are kind of connected to women more in that way, and men disconnect more. It's so much nuance to that. The point I've been trying to make over time is like the language is different, regardless of the reason. The fact of the matter is the fact of the matter. How I'm going to view vulnerability is different from you. Doesn't mean I'm any less vulnerable or want to be any less vulnerable than you do. How I go about it is going to be different. What I say, my mannerisms, all of that's going to be different from what you do. Does it change it? Does it make it any less true? Does it make it any less valuable to me? And I think that's the dichotomy that women, that's the dichotomy that women don't understand. I'm not saying that you don't get rejected. I'm a black man. I've been rejected for mad shit outside of relationship shit. That's life, right? But in this specific thing, I was comparing sex because our vulnerability is as sensitive. Our vulnerability is as dynamic as how a woman has to navigate her sexual prowess throughout her life.
I think y'all not taught pain management. That's the problem. Because y'all not taught to regulate your emotions, because you're not expected to get hurt. People brainwash y'all to think that y'all supposed to just go out there and win. So women have no problem dealing with that part because we're expected. Like I said, I keep saying all the time, women are trained to get their hearts broken. Men, and that the learning you get from men, we're talking about books, we're talking about shows, we're talking about all this stuff, and they teach you how to get over it and to pick yourself up and move on.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's the same shit. It's and that's what it is. It's just, and that's why I say you have to put yourself out there to get hurt, to understand that's going to happen, and like that's the bottom line, is that vulnerability, the basis of your vulnerability is a fear, and it's a fear of being hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes actually hurt, but most of the time it's emotionally hurt, and that's our job to manage ourselves in that way.
I agree. I definitely agree. So you have any final words for this? 'Cause
we have a man in the group chat. I'm gonna read Charmin's. Charmin Fitness said, "You gotta earn a space to be vulnerable in, and I'd rather open up to a woman I feel comfortable around before I say anything to one of my homeboys. Respectfully, I just came in on the topic. My bad. That's fine. We value your viewpoint in the comment section, as the women have been very actively chatting there.
Yeah. I also feel like as I get older, I am more vulnerable with my male counterparts than I used to be.
Because you're more secure in yourself. You know you can get over stuff.
I agree. Not only that, I don't think that I feel like if I'm vulnerable with you and you act like a dickhead, it shows that you're the fool, not me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it says a lot more about the person who's doing the shit than it does you. And I feel like we want to be so accepted and stuff like that when we're younger that we don't realize that just being rejected by someone is being what they say redirected by God.
Yep.
Towards your people. If you're not taught that, yeah, it might hurt, but that person is not going to define you. You can't let these people define your value. And men need to advocate to themselves that I'm a human. I deserve to live life and experience all the benefits of a full relationship. Like, you have to advocate for yourself in a relationship and not just in therapy. Like, and I know not all women will rise to the occasion, but they won't change until you reject the ones that don't.
I agree. I agree. Well, listen, y'all. That was a dope ass 90-minute conversation. Even though we've been on this for 2 hours trying to get it right. We'll be back next Wednesday. I did want to say one thing. I look skinny as shit on this camera. I thought it was a filter, but it is not. So, you know what I'm saying? I think I lost a little bit of weight. Yeah, I mean. Also, sorry for being gone for the last 2 weeks. I wasn't feeling good 1 week. Virginia was on vacation, and I don't know what happened the week before that. But I had a lifestyle change. So anyway, we're back, and we're going to be back, and we're going to be lit. So tune in next week. It's going to be just as good, just as entertaining. Share this video. Hopefully we can get some clips posted up this week. And so some people who didn't catch it, might want to catch it or whatever. So love you guys. Talk to you guys soon. And yeah, next Wednesday is gonna be there. Also, I might go live to talk about some political shit. I really wanted to do it yesterday, but life was lifing. I might do it next Tuesday up to the election. I got some stuff to get off my chest about what's going on in the political world. Y'all motherfuckers just ain't listening. So tune in, and we're gonna make this work. All right, y'all. Later, dudes. Do that.
Bye, guys.
This shit on the wrong app. I'm not used to this yet.